everybody. Once again, this is another marketing strategy session, and I have the privilege of talking to Susan Marshall. Now, we're going to talk about some things that are very exciting. We're going to talk about marketing, of course, and we're going to talk about one of the key factors that a lot of businesses fail to do, and that's why they're not seeing the results they're looking for. So I'm about to get on this call real quick, and we're going to talk about some exciting things. Susan.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for talking with me today.
You're welcome.
So, how are things over at Torchlight?
Things are great over at Torchlight. We've been in business now for a little over a year. We have over 35 customers, about 250 freelancers in our network that help businesses with their digital marketing. So things are great.
Oh, good. And you've had a lot of success over your career, helping some major brands. And so now you're also helping in your own capacity with your own company. So that's really great. Great to hear. So let's talk marketing. And, we love to talk about different marketing strategies and points of view, but especially in the SaaS industry. Is that how you say it? Is it SaaS or is it just SaaS industry? What have you found have been some of the challenges when it comes to marketing in that industry?
Marketing specifically in SaaS or marketing technology, you mean?
Yes, marketing technology. I mean, it's really growing, of course, over the years. Everybody's trying to get in it because they're chasing the success model. Everybody's saying, well, it's successful, so I want to get in it. Yeah. But once they get in it, the marketing involved with it usually overwhelms everybody. So what challenges have you seen or best practices have you uncovered?
I would say the biggest challenge in a SaaS model is, if you want to see that exponential growth, you have to really keep your churn down. So that's how you see such big growth. So it's great if you can sign a customer for 12, 18 months, 24 months. But if you're not doing a good job satisfying that customer, keeping them happy, doing a good job, you'll start to get what they call a leaky bucket. So you'll see a lot of churn and people falling out the back end, and then you don't see that exponential growth that's very typical of these high growth SaaS companies. So I don't think enough people spend enough time marketing to existing customers and focusing on customer success. They're just trying to keep filling the top of the funnel, which will enable them to grow.
Now, I see that a lot when I consult. Everybody's looking for lead gen. And it's like, okay, that's great. We want more. Yeah. But you're also having, like you were saying, that hole in the bucket. I mean, you're filling it with water, and it just as quick as you're getting people in, people are leaving. So that's very important.
That's a challenge. And people just don't focus. And it doesn't make sense to me because, your customers are your best sales agents, because if you're doing a really good job, you'll keep them for life, you'll grow quickly, but you'll also get referrals and leads. So you really need to flip that funnel. Instead of trying to fill the top of the bucket with a bunch of leads that you hope become customers, flip it and focus on your customers, and then they'll bring more customers to you and drive your business.
And wouldn't it be easier because they already know you, they already trust you, they hopefully already like you, hopefully. Yeah. And, it's one of those things that should be easier than convincing somebody that's new, that you don't know, that you're the best thing. So.
Right. And in our space, because we sell digital marketing services and technology, there's still a lot of unknowns out there. How does it work? How do I know it's working? I've tried things, I've been burned. So it's even more important, I think, in our industry or in the space that Torchlight's in to do a really good job for customers.
Okay. And now, is that, I guess, the approach? Is it something that is different than the new customer acquisition? Is it more nurturing, or is it, what really will be some best practices to get involved in marketing to existing clients or customers?
Good question. So I think a lot of times we're always looking for the deal. We're always trying to get them to spend more. instead of providing value-based content, I like to call it. So no matter what product or service you sell, your customer, your existing customer wants to learn and grow, and you're the expert. So how can you continue to nurture that relationship with that customer by providing great blog posts or infographics or data or reports that makes them look like the hero, makes them look smarter, and then they'll feel more connected to you as a company and to your brand and buy more, tell their friends about you, that kind of thing. So I see a lot of companies who question, should I be investing in this content? It's not a coupon, or it's not something that's driving immediate action to get that deal. And that's a very short-term view. So I try to tell customers, take a longer view and really build that relationship with your customer. And by giving them, you have to give them back something other than just your product or your service.
And that's a good point. I mean, it's sort of like what I always refer to when I'm consulting the sales, the mobile phone model. A lot of times you'll find out with mobile phone devices that they have different plans. And usually their plans are based on price. And so whenever the next company comes out with a lower price, everybody jumps ship.
Right.
But when you focus on value, let's flip it on its head. If it's value, you'll say, I don't care if it's cheaper to go this route. I'm not going to, $10 a month isn't going to make me leave.
Yeah.
Because this is so much better of a value. And I think that's key, because a lot of times businesses do focus on, well, we're going to give a coupon, we'll give a discount. It's price-based. And if you focus on price-based, your competitor can beat you on price. Yeah. Because there's always somebody who'll do it cheaper.
Sure. And we know that, human behavior, we don't always buy based on price. We buy because, there may be a personal value to me. I'm getting more out of this relationship. It's solving a pain point. I have a really good connection with my rep or my, salesperson over at that company. So there's so many more complicated reasons for people to buy other than price. And we lose sight of that,
Yeah. And I experienced it with my mechanic. I get oil changes from my mechanic, and it was brought to my attention by a friend that I'm paying more to get an oil change there than if I was to go somewhere else. But our relationship is so forged. I don't mind that. That's fine, because in the other aspect, the value is so much greater. He knows me. He knows my family. I can come to him at any time. There's that personal connection that I don't mind paying $5, $10 more for an oil change, because overall I'm getting more than going to another service where I'm just a number.
Yeah.
So,
and you can translate that to technology and to, things that you might not think would be very service oriented, because that's an intimate relationship between your mechanic and you and your car. But you can extend that to virtually any service or any company. So if someone's listening and thinking, well, that's a very B2C type of relationship, it's very high touch, I can't duplicate that in my business. You can forge relationships at scale. You just have to be really creative about it and know your audience and what they care about, I think.
That's the key, really knowing your audience and what they care about, and not being afraid of the customer service. That's the interesting thing. A lot of companies, especially when technology, they try to avoid any type of phone contact, any customer service contact, and that is a great way to build their relationship.
Right. Yeah. Your customer service people should be, the CEO and the leader of the company should be talking to them all the time, listening in on calls, understanding what their customers are asking for. We built into our platform from the very beginning something called Intercom, which is an application that allows real-time chat within all the different pages within our application. So if somebody's stuck, they don't know how to use a feature, or if they just have a question, we can immediately be there and answer them. And we are excited about that because it's helping them, but it also could be a sales opportunity for us later. And then Intercom, not to keep promoting them so much, but it also tracks different behavior within the application. So you can see if somebody's not using a specific feature, and then you can trigger email messages based on how they're interacting with your product, which
Oh, wow.
which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is. Now, we're talking about existing customers and marketing to them. And that's funny because most people don't even think about marketing to existing customers. You think of that as new. So as you're marketing, you touched on one thing that's very key, and that's building valuable content.
Mm-hmm.
And what are some good strategies when it comes to building that content to market to existing customers? And one thing you just mentioned was your customer service, the intercom system in which you now are gathering that information, gathering the behavior. That can build content in itself.
Right.
That gives good topics. But what are some other ways that you can build those marketing strategies and campaigns for existing customers?
So I do think data is important, knowing what they're struggling with, or what they're really interested in will help you develop a content strategy. I think it's important to kind of look beyond when you're developing content, whether it's a blog post or an infographic or a video, to kind of look beyond just what your product offers and think about them a little bit more holistically within, so for instance, if you sell clothing and you sell shoes, you might want to do some content that's about, even body image, not just how to pair shoes with a dress, but think about things that they care about as it relates to their appearance, not just as it relates to the product that you sell. So it's thinking about them more as a friend or an extension of your circle and what things might be of interest to them. And you want it to be tangentially related to your product, of course, but a little more broader than just the service that you provide.
Okay, so it's really focused on them versus focusing on you, so you're not just, hey, this is my product, look at my shoe, it's more of, do your feet hurt? Do you walk a lot? Let me tell you how you can be comfortable. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah. Great. And then you have to remember, you create that content and then you have to get it in front of them whenever you can. So a lot of times we see people creating great content and information, but they're not promoting it and sharing it. So have a good email strategy, have a good social strategy. All of those things are an important part of the marketing mix when you're marketing to customers and prospects. It can work both ways. So there's content that you can use for customers and for prospects.
Yeah. And that brings us to the one thing that you mentioned to me earlier before our call. The number one challenge that hinders a lot of companies from succeeding in marketing is implementation.
Yeah.
Taking action. Tell us more about that.
Well, it's hard because we have all these great ideas, especially as entrepreneurs, and marketing people are inherently very creative and they've got all sorts of things they want to do. So it starts with, in my mind, relentless focus and prioritization. So if your strategy is to focus on customers and get referrals, put a plan together and execute against that. Don't try to do that for both customers, prospects, different target audiences within your prospect. So get very focused, and then think about alternative ways to build a team that can execute campaigns. So once you know what you want to do, which might be, okay, flip the funnel, I'm going to go market to my existing customers. I'm going to look for referrals. I'm going to give them value-based content to get them engaged. And then after a couple interactions, then I'm going to ask for a referral and I'll give them a discount or I'll give them some referral fee. So maybe that's your strategy. Okay, now you have that. That might involve writing a blog post, creating emails, maybe even doing some paid advertising, creating banners. How do you go find, and so you might have one person on your team or two people. There are lots of great freelancer networks out there that you can tap into. So that's one creative way to extend your team and execute. And then there are wonderful marketing technology tools now that can extend your team too, through marketing automation and some other things that aren't that expensive. The prices are starting to get a lot more reasonable now that there's a proliferation of tools in the market. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Even,
Yes.
I mean, like MailChimp, for example, an email service provider, I think it's free up to like 15,000 contacts, and you can do triggered emails. And so somebody comes to your website and fills out a form, you can trigger an email with some value-based content. You write it once and then it can be very personalized. So,
and it is about focusing on it, because one of the challenges that I found with a lot of marketing strategies that have been put into play, they're great at the boardroom, but then all of a sudden, tomorrow's meeting, somebody comes up with another idea, and it's, oh, that's great, let's do it, switch everything we're doing, and let's do that. And next thing you know, next quarter, you look and you say, we haven't done anything because we've been so busy just switching things up. So, focusing.
I bet you hear all the time, oh, we tried that for a week and it didn't work, so we changed gears and we changed gears.
That's me. Hey, I'll try. I've heard it a lot of times, and I've done it a lot of times.
Yeah.
And and my assistant, she screams because she's like, okay, you were supposed to keep giving me this kind of content, and you stopped and you switched up and done something. So it is a struggle. And, I admit, as a practitioner, I struggle with it at times as well, because you see new things, you want to try it. And unfortunately, marketing is a long game, not a short game, but our expectations are short. We want to find that silver bullet. We want to find that one technique that we put a little bit of effort into, maybe a little bit of budget into, and we become super successful, But that's just a myth.
It is. And as a consultant, I'm sure it's hard for you to continually educate, people that let's keep investing. It's, so my company's over a year old. We started content marketing from the very beginning, knowing it might take 6 to 8 months before we started really ranking in Google search, because we kept blogging and talking about the same keywords over and over again. It just takes time. And now here we are, we're starting to get tons of leads and opportunities, but it's a long time coming, and you just have to plan for it,
Yeah. And in building this strategy, you actually build in those contingencies, because that content marketing is going to take a long term. SEO is going to take a long time, but paid search, that's something that's more immediate.
Right.
Social is something that can be more immediate. Now I say that with a caveat. The social strategy is long term, but there are some social posts that can be more immediate.
Sure.
But you have those in place, and you understand that there is a life cycle. So don't think that you're just gonna say, oh, I'm gonna do this, like for instance, this podcast we're doing now, and I'm gonna post it up, and now I'm gonna have 10 new leads tomorrow.
Right.
Probably not, but you understand it's a part of the whole process, and you fulfill the whole thing. So it's great that you've taken the time to do the 6 months and understand that content is something that's a seed. It's planted. It'll grow, but it'll take time.
That's a great analogy. I'm going to use that next time I talk to a customer.
Sure. Because it really is. How many times have you heard, I saw your article on blah, 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 and you're like, we wrote that a long time ago.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's just building that arsenal. And then I think it's also important, sometimes you don't have to keep generating fresh content all the time. It is important to have, but there's plenty of stuff you could repackage. And for instance, we're doing this podcast now. This will be great. You'll share it. But it could be transcribed into a blog post and then tweet. Then you can kind of start to compartmentalize it and use it on other channels. Image captures. This is a great piece of content you're creating that could be repurposed for.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that we do, this is a video, but I also strip the audio to make it audio, because the audience, some people like to watch, some people like to listen. Yeah. Some people listen to the podcast while they're exercising, driving, but then you write you have it transcribed. You even take the transcription, write some articles based on the transcription. There are a lot of different things that you can do to repurpose the marketing material and then put it into your plan. And that's another thing. Have a plan. Just, don't throw up stuff and randomly, hopefully something sticks. Kind of have a plan, a plan of attack. Yeah. It's football season. Love football. Nobody goes out on the field and say, look, we're just going to put the ball in somebody's hand and figure out what we're going to do when we get out there.
Oh,
they have plans.
Good. I hope the Colts have a good plan this year, or Indianapolis Colts.
I hope so. Hey, the Falcons, we need a plan. Yeah. We need a plan because we have a new stadium next year that's coming out, and we have to pay for that. So we need a ring. We need a ring. They said that the Super Bowl is supposed to be coming out here in 2019. So hopefully we need a ring to be, in that Super Bowl or something.
You'll get it.
But yeah, we need a plan. Bad.
Yeah.
And you see, y'all have luck, so y'all have a little bit of help. Y'all,
Yeah, he just can't. Our offensive line is, I guess, letting him get beat up. At least that's what my 12-year-old son tells me. So I don't know. Football.
Well, I know y'all miss Manning. I know that hurt.
Yeah, that was a hard loss, but we still feel like he's part of our community. So.
Oh yeah. Well, y'all had a good run though, and y'all have rings.
Well,
that helped.
I thought the Falcons had a ring. You don't have a ring? No. Oh, you'll get one.
We went once, but we have no rings. We feel like that. What is it? Unsung, they call them. Unsung. It's like no ring, nothing to show for it, but people heard of us. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Maybe this year. Maybe, I don't know.
I hope so.
Well, Susan, thanks so much for sharing. I mean, it's such great information that you shared. And in closing, I'd like to open up the floor for anybody that's interested in contacting Susan, finding out how you can better your marketing. Feel free to reach out to us. Susan, if you would share with them how they can contact.
Sure. So if you're a business that needs digital marketing, so you want to extend your team through a freelancer, for example, somebody who could write or blog or send emails, you can come to torchlight.com and you can download one of our ebooks, or you can use the chat feature and ask us for some help. Or if you're a freelancer who's a marketer, a writer, a blogger, who's really good at what you do, you can come to torchlight.com. It's TORCHLITE.com and hit the Become a Torchlighter button. And we'd love to have you as part of our network.
Cool. And here's the thing. You can either A, sit there and say you'll do it yourself and do it, hopefully, or B, you can spend a little bit of time getting someone else that can get it done, and then you can move on to something else. And that's another thing that I've found a lot. A lot of times everybody wants to hold it in-house and do it themselves, and the challenge is it doesn't get done.
Right.
So, find out the best way to actually complete the action so you can go ahead and see the benefits.
Exactly. So. And that's what we do at Torchlight, is we help you execute and get those campaigns done so you can drive revenue and grow and focus on what you like to do best and run your company.
Yeah. My friend Patrick would love you because that's his favorite word, execute. That's every time I call him on the phone, I'm like, Pat, what you up to? Execute. Like, hey, he's the king of execution.
Send him my way. I'd love to meet him.
Will do. Maybe we'll get on the call. Patrick McFadden. He's a great consultant up in Richmond. So,
good.
So thanks everybody for being on. Hopefully you learned a lot. I know I did. And remember, marketing is great on paper, but it works when it's executed. Right. So this has been another marketing strategy session, and I wish y'all the best of success.
Thank you so much.